I don't think it's so much as of a trend as it is a approach, if that makes any sense, meaning that I believe parents these days are more amenable to attempting to work out custody issues with the assistance of a mental health professional as opposed to duking it out in court. And I think that the approach is mostly the result of seeing on television, seeing in the media, on social media, and having a more of an awareness that, going to court and having a judge that knows nothing about you or your children and having them make the ultimate decision as to how you're going to live and your children are going to live and the parenting decisions that you make, that may not be the best route for every person to go down. I think people and custody litigants realize that them maintaining that control, and maybe they're not going to get 100% of what they're looking for in terms of parenting time or decision making, but to be able to have control over those decisions and work them out with someone that you're not going to be married to anymore with the help of a mental health professional is always going to be a better route than having some disinterested judge who hopefully does have everyone's best interest at heart. But you have to realize the constraints that they work under, and you have to deal with that, meaning time and caseload. So they don't have that much time for your case. So in any event, it's always better to have control over your own life. So I think parents on a greater average are far more willing to work to try to resolve custody issues rather than running into court and litigating them, which I think is a terribly, and it sounds counterproductive, but I think it's a terribly important trend and approach. One topic I find coming up repeatedly, and it's, I wouldn't say bothersome to me as a practitioner, but concerning to me as a practitioner, is parents embroiling their children in their marital problems and their litigation. I recently had a discussion with a mental health professional, and they pointed out and reemphasized how important it was in terms of the adult that you become. It's the childhood that you had that really forms that. So meaning, if you had a great role model, great direction, and that positive force when you were growing up, it's so much more likely that when you're a parent, you're going to emulate, you're going to, be that same person because you had a great example. So I think that parents, because they're so emotionally, overwhelmed, and they want to feel the support of whomever is around them, including the children, they tend to overly involve children in their marital issues and the litigation in their divorce case. And I don't think they understand as they sit there how much damage that really does, because it makes the child feel responsible for the parent. It over involves a child where it's not necessary. They're just not equipped to deal with those adult problems and adult emotions. And I just think it leaves a very bad telltale in terms of this child's adjustment later on in life, in terms of how they deal with relationships, how they deal with problems. And I would just far more prefer that every parent get a great therapist, a great lawyer that they can vent to, speak to, get advice from, talk to, rather than using their children as that person. It will just benefit them as well, and particularly their children down the road.